Hello my friends and welcome back. I'm Chisgule Gaming, and in today's video, sponsored by the makers of Call of Dragons, we're going to get a look at Danfel. And I am definitely an infantry, let's say supporter in pretty much every game that I play. That is also the case here in Call of Dragons, and I will probably be rushing to max Danfel for some fighting in this upcoming season. So if that's the kind of thing you want to see, subscribe to the channel. What does Danfel do? Well, there's a couple reasons I'm hyped. First and foremost, 1600 skill damage factor and a 600 shield factor. So that's 2200 total factor of goodness, which seems pretty darn good, right? The next skill makes it so that while you're in the field, the Legion and all friendly units behind it gain Mercy for 3 seconds. Okay, 3 total Legions gain Mercy, which makes it so that you take 20% less damage from range. It is typically range units that are destroying you, your mages and your marksmen. So yeah, that seems like a pretty cool effect. And buffing allies is always very powerful. The third skill, all infantry units gain 10% defense and 20% hit points. Very straightforward. The fourth skill makes it so that you get a march speed reduction inflicted on the enemy when you use shield strike. So that's your active skill. You will reduce the march speed of the enemy by 20%, and also you will make it so they take 20% more damage, so debilitated. Very powerful effects. The thing that I don't love about this is that, I don't know, infantry charge in and then they get melted typically. Like, will he live long enough to do something cool and relevant? That is my big question. The expertise, unfortunately, is enhancing the fourth skill. So when dealing damage to a Legion inflicted or affected by Halfling Fury, that's the skill right here, adds 1 second to the duration of debilitated and slow. This can be triggered once every 2 seconds. So the way I think this works is that because it's a 6-second duration, and every other second you can increase the duration, like you could theoretically extend this so that you have a complete full uptime on this debuff on one target if you can just keep hitting them and then recast and refresh the duration, which is pretty crazy. But will it be good enough? Who do you pair with? I think one option would be to pair with Madeline. And if you paired with Madeline, okay, because you don't have the new infantry, the garrison yet, you're going to get some pretty cool effects. There is a shield factor. I don't know how well those stack, but also shields disappear so fast it almost doesn't matter. Legion capacity is good. Physical damage bonus is good. The hit points is great. The counterattack is good. The skill damage is good. Like, yeah, Madeline would be an awesome pairing. But if you wanted to keep Madeline where you had her, probably with your Garwood, then one other pairing that's very could be Nika Primary. Nika Primary brings you huge skill damage factor and a hit point reduction, and then you hit him with Danfel's big active skill. It also gives you march speed, attack, and counterattack, skill damage bonus, and a way to do just a ridiculous amount of skill damage to weaker enemies. I actually think that pairing seems really synergistic and really cool. Even Garwood. You use Garwood as the primary, heal yourself, increases your damage dealt by 30%, and then Danfel's secondary is just big, big, big damage. Pfft. I mean, seriously, the only pairing where I wouldn't mess with them, I wouldn't try to pair with them, it's actually Goresh and Skogul, hilariously. I would not try to use Goresh and Skogul with the new infantry. I would not try to use Hosk, the new infantry. I would not try to use Thea with the new infantry. I would not try to use an epic with the new legendary infantry Danfel. I would not try to use Indus. Like, guys, let's keep it a buck here, right? Like, you should be using infantry. If you're in a season of strife where you can swap out the skills, if you pair with Nika, you get rid of the peacekeeping skill, and now you're just like cooking. You're actually in a great spot. So I really like the idea of pairing with Nika, but that assumes you're not just going to pair with the new infantry hero that's coming out, and a lot of people won't. But just as a brief reminder, if you go into your settings, emojis, scroll on down, you can select the hero you want to see, even if they're not yet otherwise visible. We can see that Magro also does skill damage, 450 factor per second for 3 seconds. Ends up being a lot of damage factor. Like, it's kind of sneaky. As long as you're hitting 2 targets or more, you're in a great spot here. Plus, he reduces the health of the enemy. So this video is not going to be about Magro. I will simply say that he does seem like a great pairing. He even has this skill tree, which I think would be preferable to pair with Danfel. And the reason is that it's gonna just go all in on skill damage. Now, why am I interested in going all in on skill damage? I feel like it's pretty obvious, but when we talk about moving in on skill damage, it's because of the Moon Bear. The Moon Bear is going to make it so that you deal damage to your enemy, and the amount of damage depends on the damage factor dealt of your primary and secondary heroes in the army. So Moon Bear seems like a slam dunk choice. Depending on who else you're pairing with, you actually have a lot of pet options that you may have already built and you could just use. So for example, if you're pairing with Nika, Moon Bear is the play. But if you were going to pair with, for example, Garwood, you could use a Stripe Bear. Stripe Bear is all about healing. Garwood delivers enough of that all on his own that you could do that. If you're going to pair with Madeline, you could totally use the Frost Bear. Frost Bear delivers a ton of value from the shielding effect. Very powerful stuff. I think the two of them together could work pretty well. So depending on who you're pairing with will determine what pet. But I think very uncontroversial choice here is to build yourself a Moon Bear and enjoy it. Now, I spent about 2,000 regeneration potions. I got this one very early on, and I got the option to go to this 8-slot version, but I don't think it's actually an upgrade. Unfortunate. And then I did that in about, I want to say 600 or so regenerations. I got to that outcome. And then I regenerated a bunch more on this one because I figure, well, this is pretty good. I don't want to keep regenerating this because, like, I've got an 8-slot option. I've got a 7-slot option. I haven't put any skills on it yet. Let's just take another one of these things and fire it up. And I used 1,400 regeneration potions. This is where I ended up. GG. I'll have a card in the end screen to talk about the Moon Bear you should build. Okay, but pretty straightforward what it is that you're trying to do here with the Moon Bear. You're looking for a lot of strength, a lot of agility, maybe some endurance, maybe some luck. But you probably don't even need the luck if you have a 7-slot pet. And even then, you could just double down on strength skill. But I covered that in another video, all right? Which brings us to the artifacts. And I think that the new infantry artifact is the slam dunk choice. I actually don't see it here in game yet, although I'm sure we'll be able to show it soon. There might be a sneaky way I could figure out how to show it to you. But one spot where I know that they've got a little something, right? Didn't they have, oh, it's gone now. Well, whatever. I covered it in another video. Card will be in the end screen. The new shield is looking pretty good. That is almost certainly the choice. If you're going to use a free-to-play option, then I think a very easy choice would be something like the Fang of Ashkari. If you wanted, you could go with the Dragon Rift because you're looking at a high skill damage hero. I don't really know how this damage factor plays into what the Moon Bear will do, but I generally would say infantry defense just feels a lot stronger than attack, and health feels even stronger than that. So you could go the Springs of Silence route or the Dragon Rift route. I don't love them. I definitely would not recommend a Springbird Feather coming from personal experience. I just don't feel like you can get your infantry to really work like they're a rogue, so to speak. And the one thing I would want to check about the Dragon Scale Armor Entangling Flames is that this additional effect, your Legion gains ranged resistance. The wielder gains a shield through rage skills. I just want to make sure this ranged resistance effect can stack with Danfel's skills. I don't know. So that's something that's probably got to get tested. And, you know, of course, if you had a Spirit Bone Torque, that would also be absolutely outstanding. Weirdly enough, this isn't actually attached per se to Gorish and Skogul, although it is definitely better there. You really kind of don't want Danfel to be soaking up hits if you can avoid it. And, obviously, Graymar's Hammer is a great one. Very fun. Wish I had that one. And, lastly, if you're pairing with Garwood, I think then the Deathless Vines are kind of like an interesting option. But, most people probably aren't going to do that, to be honest. So that means probably the Danfel Mogro combo with the new shield, and also you go with a Moon Bear. That's where it's at. And if you really want to absolutely maximize what can be done, I mean, sure, I'm Wilderberg. Wilderberg has a pretty reasonable bonus here, 3% physical legion attack. I mean, it ain't much, but it is something. All right. Now, I'm definitely interested in your thoughts down below about this hero and how you talent him. But by the way, infantry, PvP, and tank is the same as we have on Madeline. So with regard to the talents here, I think the only difference is that because he doesn't really have buffs, I think the skill you take is ready for battle. So I would grab the infantry defense, take egoism to reduce the skill damage you take. I'd probably take adrenaline rush to make it so you do more normal damage. Cool-headed seems good for the shelter buff. Most of this you keep the same. All conquering is great. Last word is great. I like flank protection if you think you'll be hit by lots of infantry. Otherwise, I don't know. This is a weird talent encouraging dance because you typically get hit by so much stuff, it doesn't even matter. It really doesn't. You'll max rage per second anyways. So if you're charging with lots of infantry, there's a lot of value to encouraging dance. And ready for battle's kind of where it's at, I think, with the extra counterattacks. From there, you can see what I did in the tank tree. I really want to get to Unyielding Spirit. Just sort of reduce the hero skill damage that I'm taking is the play. I don't think there's anything really deep in this tank tree that I would say is critical. I'm not really trying to increase my attack, get the bonus. I don't know, man. Maybe I'm thinking about it the wrong way. Dealing less hero skill damage? Pfft, that ain't it. What I think is more likely to be it is Mogro. That's probably it. And the two trees you would be looking at there are infantry and skill. And good news, we've got that on Nika. So if I can stop scrolling right past her, I can show you that for infantry skill, it looks like when I was running rallies, tested this combo, our enemies were doing it. I didn't think it was a good combo. I still don't think it's a good combo, but we did it. See, it was kind of cracked up to what it was being represented as. And this was the build I used. So what have I taken? I increased my Legion attack. I do more hero skill damage. That seems on point. Taking less normals is always good. Head held high, rage generation, and spirit of rage seems good. Depending on your pairing, I feel like Boiling Blood could be outstanding. Whenever your commander, that's the primary hero in a legion, uses their rage skill, your deputy deals 8% more skill damage. Seems good. I like attached, deal less normal damage, but 8% more hero skill damage, right? So you could move all in on this. But I don't think these things that increase your percent hero skill damage give you more factor for the Moon Bear. I think it's the same factor, but a multiplier on it. But this is really what you're there for. Focus gives you a crit chance, and then you get a crit damage bonus. I feel like those are really nice. And whenever you gain a buff effect, your Legion has a 20% chance to gain synergy, increasing hero skill damage. Not bad. This one I had for rallying specifically. Every time your Legion casts a rage skill, they deal more hero skill damage. I'd probably take Thirst for Blood instead here. So when you cast a rage skill, you get an extra 60 damage factor. And it ain't much, right? It ain't much, but I think it's fine. And I don't really feel like there's a lot at the start of this infantry tree that was exciting me. So, and you could go for March speed, but again, I'm just not really feeling it. I felt like the extra points dumped into here was kind of better. So with all of that said, the key is living long enough. By the way, you'd take March speed over here for sure. go a little bit faster if you're doing this pairing. But the weirdness of this skill tree is that Danfel isn't really manipulating his crit rate or crit damage. And even the hero skill damage, he's not really manipulating in a major way. And Nika is also not manipulating it in a major way. 10% more hero skill damage. It just ain't much. So there's not a lot here that pushes you in this direction. Certainly not in the same way as Velen does. Let me just explain that really quick. Velen is giving you 10% more hero skill crit rate. So increasing your crit damage with Lilia and the skill tree is a lot more powerful. Even the second skill here, hero skill damage bonus, is really good when your crit rate's going up and up and up. Going to do a lot more damage. So I think that the sort of synergy you'd be looking for skill damage is not actually there on Danfel, but it still seems fine, right? Like, if what Danfel did was give you a lot of crit damage and a lot of crit chance, then I would say it'd be very clear to go into the skill tree. Okay, I did cook up one more build. I think I might actually like this one the most. I do go into the PvP tree, and I use a little bit of the tank tree. Let me explain. So the base is the same, but then I get defense, which, okay, I don't love that. You could take normal attack or march speed if you wanted. But then 5% skill damage in the PvP tree is actually pretty legit. All depends on who you're pairing with here. But then, making it so that when your Legion launches a counterattack, you have a chance to reduce all the damage you take, actually should stack very quickly with how much you're going to take normal attacks. And then I take the extra counterattack boost of 5%. Seems good. From there, 1.5% damage dealt. Seems good. When you get below 50%, which you will, you are going to make it so that you deal 3% more damage. Yeah, I mean, it's not amazing, but not terrible. Give yourself 10% more health. And then in the tank tree, we take the extra skill damage. We take the normal attack damage taken reduction to make you actually live long enough to do relevant things. And then Unyielding Spirit. And I dropped 1 extra point Encouraging Dance. I don't know. Let me know your thoughts down below again in the comments on what build you like the most. He is going to be available from the Lucky Spins. That's how I plan to get him. I think we have to wait till the new season starts and we actually enter it. I'd love to get him this cycle, but I don't think that's an option. I go all the way over here, scroll on down. There's not even any scrolling. It's right there in front of me. Strongest Lord. Yeah, Tobin's here, but he is not. GG's. If you enjoyed the vid, throw a like on here, subscribe. Let me know your thoughts on Danfel in the comments. Until next time, you have fun, your enemies.